Okay, it's so fun to see all the faces, and I have to scroll over a page because nearly everyone on this call is doing Ironman Texas or going to be there. And this is our biggest team race by far. We have like 83, 84 of you signed up. And I think the record for us so far at an Ironman was Florida last year. And I feel like we had 40 something that actually ended up doing it. And it felt like you saw someone literally every step of the way. So it's literally, you're going to see your teammates. I see Seth nodding his head because he was there at Ironman Florida. But you're going to see teammates the entire way, which is going to make this so much fun. So I'm so glad all of you guys decided to enter this race, especially if it's your first Ironman. I feel like there's no better way to do it. Out there with teammates and people you know. So guys, we're going to get right into it. Today, the goal is to talk about logistics. Today, we're going to talk about the course. We really want to open it up for questions for all of you. So don't hesitate to ask. How we do the questions, if you've never been on a call, because I do see some new faces, is you type it in the chat. And then after each segment, swim, bike, run, we will get to the questions, answer them. And no question is stupid. We understand there's some of you doing this for the very first time. Ask away, okay? Because it may help someone else who didn't want to ask a question. So before I pull up the presentation, just a couple of housekeeping items. Ashton has been sending out an email for those going to the race. If you have not been getting that email, please email me. It's just talking about logistics up to the race, team dinner, shakeout on Friday. And then we want you to RSVP. I think we only have about half of you RSVP'd for dinner. We would like to see mostly all of you at that dinner. If you have any questions about the dinner as to why you're not RSVPing, just let us know what that concern is so we can get you there. It really makes a difference bringing you all together prior to race day. It's 2 nights before the race. So, and it's a very basic meal. We're doing like, I think it's rice, chicken kebabs, steak kebabs, and NVDM Coaching pays for the athletes. And then it's a small amount if you are bringing your families, and we just need to know the numbers, and we'll get you sorted on that. The other thing is Ownway did make t-shirts for you all. You can see in his chest right there, Grant. So we're going to have you guys all represent. More so, yes, it's a great way for marketing, of course, but more so it's for us to see each other out on the course and go, oh, that's my teammate. That's my teammate. So wear it at bike check-in, wear it wherever you can, honestly, leading up to the race. I know some people like to wear a t-shirt over their kit on race morning. You could wear it then too. And then if we're going to the wards the next day, that's another option. So it's a really great shirt. We'd appreciate that. And then we also have these white hats. Many of you are wearing the NVDM Coaching tri kit on race day, and it really helps the coaches, which many of us are going to support you, as well as teammates. I feel like there's 20 people in Austin driving out to Houston to come support you all, but we can't spot you unless there's something NVDM on you. So if you don't have the kit, come reach out to me and we'll make sure to get you a hat. And if you need a hat, again, I'll have it at the dinner, everything else as well. So the volunteers, if you, Rob, are you asking about a t-shirt for the volunteers or a hat for the volunteers?
Yeah, I was because Parker said, "Will you have any for family?" And I said, "Or volunteers."
I know, yes. So originally the plan was just to make a whole bunch. And then, of course, Ownway came and said, hey, we'll make you really fancy t-shirts for the athletes. And we
Okay.
have enough for the athletes, and we have a few more for volunteers and coaches, etc. So just come to us afterwards and we'll see what we have left. Okay. But the hats and all that, we'll have plenty of that. And if you don't have a swim cap, come and find me for that too, for training when we get home. So I'm going to pull... There we go. Alex said you can wear mine while I'm racing. I'm going to pull up the presentation. A big shout out to Ashton, who's absolutely leveled us up with these presentations. And here we go. Okay. Everyone can see this, correct? Shake of head. Okay. So the number one, we wanted to address it right away. And this is specifically for our new athletes. What is different about an Ironman and a 70.3 is you get these gear bags. So when you go and pick up your packet the days before, and know that you have to check in before Friday. Friday is only the day to drop off your gear. But when you check in, you will get these gear bags where you'll have to write your number on each gear bag. So make sure you have a black Koki pen. and a marker pen. Koki is South African, what we say. And you'll be writing your number on it. And sometimes I honestly like mark it up even more with tape or a little bit of tape, a little bit more marking so that I can really see it when I'm running through transition. But everything you need for the bike is going to go into the blue bike bag. And yes, you drop it off the day before. You will have access to it race morning, that if you wanted to put a specific nutrition bottle in there that you want to keep cold overnight, you'll have access to put it in this gear bag. Then the same thing for the run gear bag. You have to drop off your run gear the day before. And so everything there is listed out as far as specifics. But if you do have extra questions on what you should be taking, please ask your coach. One thing I will say is add salt to all of this. So many times, like 80% of the field, they're out there cramping, and I don't want any of our athletes to be in that position. And so Raw Nutrition is, by the way, we're going to be launching our salt supplement coming out really soon, but they are pressing on getting a whole bunch of little vials out to us for Ironman Texas that we'll be able to hand you prior to race day, and you can put it in all your bags. And worst case scenario, we'll have some out on the course with us, and we can't hand it off to you, but we can kind of put them at an aid station where you can get it from a volunteer at an aid station if you guys do get into trouble. So make sure to communicate with us if that is the case. But yeah, those are your bike gear, run gear, and then you also have these 3 bags, which you bring through on race morning. So your morning clothes bag is where you put, if you're by yourself, that's where you put the clothes that you're wearing in the morning. And if you have to leave car keys or cell phone, people do that in these morning clothes bags because you get it at the Ironman Village right as you cross the line when you finish. What I do personally is I put in my wetsuit and swim skin and goggles into that morning clothes bag. So everything I'm going to need for the swim. And so that when I get to the swim start and I take off my clothes, I just replace what I'm wearing with the stuff in the swim bag. And then, of course, extra water bottles, etc., is what I'd put in that bag as well. And then your special needs bags, you'll have this you do not get back, as you can see there, but that's basically for incidentals on the bike, or if you are going to be taking your own nutrition, which I think a lot of us are, since they do not have Gatorade endurance anymore. And so you might, it be a case where you're taking your nutrition bottles and then you need to re-up it, halfway through the bike. You'll be able to exit it at bike special needs. Know that you have to roll up to it and you have to stop. So what happens is you call out your number, and then you'll stop, and then someone will run over, grab your bag. You will take what is out in the bag out, put it on your bike, and then you drop the bag, and then they throw it in the trash. Anything you leave, you do not get back. I always put in exactly what is said here, flat tire kit in case you do flat the first time and you need to change your kit again. Have another tube, have another CO2 cartridge. I always put in extra salt, and I always put in a bottle just in case I need to maybe I missed the bottle, I need to grab something from the course. And then on the run, kind of the same thing. Here are some examples, but what is not mentioned here is chafe cream. Sometimes you forget to put chafe cream on, and now you are really burning in certain spots. You can grab a little sample of chafe cream, put it in there, or Vaseline works really well as well. There's typically sunscreen, there's typically extra salt, extra nutrition, maybe your specific energy drink, or caffeine tablets. I often honestly have a little vial where I put little ibuprofen tablets in there if you're dealing with a lot of pain. As long as you're staying really well hydrated, you should be good to take that. And anything else you feel like you may need on the run. And then race morning.
The one thing I'll add there is you can only access your run special needs bag once, and this is a 3-loop course. So have a game plan for what lap you want to do it.
Yeah, thank you, Alice. I'm going to go to questions here now. That run special needs, it's actually where our team tent is going to be, and it's where the swim start is. And so you're dropping those run and bike special needs bags off when you get to the swim start. Is what I recall, because that's where they're going to be. Is that correct? I know run special needs is there, but do we drop the bike special needs off sooner? Do you remember, Alice?
I honestly cannot remember.
You drop them both off at swim start. So there'll be the budget trucks there. You'll take them, and then they'll have like run special needs, bike special needs, and then morning clothes bag where you'll boom, 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 drop them.
Yeah. Perfect. And there's a long line of porta potties at transition, but also at the swim start. If that is going to be you, get in the line early enough, so you have time to, put on your wetsuit and everything afterwards, so you're not just like stuck in the line. Okay, I think that is everything there. I'm going to go to questions. Let's see here. So someone said I put colored duct tape on it so I can find it faster. Yeah, what happens on these gear bags, guys, you run out of the swim and you run through like a chute of gear bags. You want to remember where you put your gear bag, so you run down the correct chute. And then you want to know about where that gear bag is. And then there are volunteers to help you. So you'll run down the line and say 275, whatever your number is, and they'll try to grab it. But a lot of the times, I'll be honest, you need to know where it is because they're like maybe a step behind because there are just so many people. They do have check-in on Friday morning. Oh, that's great. There we go. Check-in Friday morning, 9 to 11. I did hear that they were changing that. I just wasn't sure for this race. Is there a general recommendation on safe dosage of ibuprofen on race day, knowing it varies by weight? I cannot speak expertly by that. Does anyone else on this call know the general recommendation? And I can just speak to what I did in the past.
I mean, you're going to be fine because it's like a one-time thing. The thing with ibuprofen you have to worry about is it can be really rough on your GI system if you don't have food in your stomach. So another reason to make sure that you are really well fueled. I would personally say don't take more than like 3 tablets.
Yeah. Yeah. In the past, I always, if I knew I was going to have like a locked up back, I always took it like at a mile 100 on the bike because it takes a little while to settle in. And then when I get off the bike, my back felt better because of it. And then I always had one in T1, a T2 for the run to take it at any point there. And then I always had one in special needs. I used to have a back issue, and that seemed to help allow me to get through it. Steven said, can you confirm drop off cold bottle Saturday morning? In the past, yeah, you can drop off cold bottles. And something I do recommend our athletes do is freeze your bottles. By the time you actually get to your bottles, they will then be cold, hopefully still, or best case scenario, they're a slushy and then it's really cold. But you can't go wrong with freezing it and having it show up by the time you get there and it's still frozen. There's just no way. So that's what I would do. If you're going to take a long time on the run, do you recommend a headlamp? I absolutely do. It gets very dark where it's shaded, like the trees. You're running through the trees, and then there's like a back section where it's very dark. So they are going to have these bracelets around your neck. It's a glow up bracelet. Or necklace is probably the best thing to say there, but I still feel like it's too dark. So definitely bring a headlamp if that's you. Special needs at swim start. There we go. Perfect. We covered all the questions. Again, keep asking away. Last thing on race morning, and then I'm going to turn it over to Katie. Transition opens at 5 a.m. We are going to be there if you need to see any of the coaches last minute. I really recommend you get there at 5 a.m. because if you show up and there's something wrong with your bike, it fell over, the tire popped, you have then time to fix it without stressing out. You have time to go to the restroom right away without like rushing, and know that it's about a 15-minute walk to the start. And here's another reason to have a headlamp, you guys, that the transition area is really dark, and then walking to the start is actually really dark as well. So I always recommend wearing a headlamp for that entire time, and then bring extra running shoes. And very comfortable. No one wants to walk in flip-flops or like low profile shoes for 15 minutes, a whole mile to get to the start. And that's going to take a toll on your body and feet prior to the race. So I would say try to get on the road, moving your direction by 5:30, 5:40 at the latest, so that you are getting there at the latest 6 o'clock. But honestly, you should be getting there about 5:45 because everyone here, the pro males, they're going to start getting in the water at like 6:10, 6:15. And so kind of the race is starting at that point. And then the pro male start goes, the female start goes. Yes, 6:38 is when you line up. You go in from the age group rolling start, but everyone honestly starts lining up at like 6:20 when the male starts to go, and then you need to kind of find your spot from there. That's it. We just explained this. Make sure you have extra water as well. It's a very long time to go without hydration when you are walking that far, you're probably sweating already because it's 75, 80 degrees. Make sure you're sipping on electrolytes. You're taking that gel right before the start. Have extra water. You need water just to sip on, water that you might need to clean your goggles out, water that you might need to put into your wetsuit. It's really can be tricky if you've started sweating and now you got to put your wetsuit on, which by the way, it was 71 degrees. So at this moment in time, it is wetsuit legal, but it can change day to day. So you need to be ready for both. But yes, when you're putting your wetsuit on and you're struggling to pull it up over your shoulders, get a water bottle with the water and pour it in, especially around the shoulder area, and that will actually help pull it up a little better. And then look for a coach, look for a teammate. We're there to help you pull the wetsuit up because we don't want mobility to be the reason why you're swimming slow. Okay, Katie, your turn.
All right. Okay. So, like Natasha said, it is a rolling age group start. So you need to talk with your coach and have a conversation about where you should be seated for that swim entry. If you need to be more conservative or if you be more aggressive. This is historically a crowded race. So just know that getting in the water, there's going to be a lot of people in the water with you. So just kind of be aware of where you like to go and your sighting. The biggest thing is paying attention to your buoys. They're going to be on the left-hand side. You'll see they're yellow, and then there's two red ones where you turn. Last year, and I think it's every year, correct me if I'm wrong, there was an arch there that you actually swim under, and your timing chip will ding. So the people following you will actually see when you're kind of halfway through that swim. So that's kind of cool too. Some Ironmen don't have that, and some races don't have that. So that's pretty fun. So you'll go around the red buoys, and then you'll have the orange ones also on your left, and you're going and going. You're like, yay, I've got the orange. And then you're going to see there is this little curve where you're curving into the canal. And that is one, yes. Okay. So make sure you're following the buoys and you're sighting the buoys at that point. What will happen is you will see some people that will start going into like that little inlet right there, and then also around the curve. When you pass the curve around in it, keep going. Yes, right there, right there. So I think Tim Floyd actually did a whole thing on don't go into the inlet it had a whole like call last year about it. So just really be watching. If you're sighting off other swimmers because you can't see the buoys or whatever, that's great. But when you start to do that curve, make sure your eyes are on the buoys and not on other swimmers, because I saw a lot of people making that mistake, and you will add a couple 100 yards to your swim at that point, which you don't want to do. So just be super aware of that and keeping your eyes on the buoys when you enter the canal. The other thing with the canal, and it's not on the picture, but once you get in the canal, there's kind of like bridge after bridge after bridge. And so it's actually really good sighting. You can sight off the bridges, and you can also sight off the sides of the canal. So it's going to be crowded. There's going to be a lot of people around you. So at that point, if you're losing sight of buoys because it is just lots of water and people, you just watch for those bridges, and then you're sighting to the side, watching the side of the canal. So actually a couple good spots for sighting there once you actually get into that canal. It's not really, it looks long on this picture. It really doesn't feel long when you're actually in that choppy canal. Like you just get in there, get it done, and get out. It really is not as long or hard as you're going to hear a lot of people are going to talk about it being. So just get in there. Stay calm, keep your mantra, keep your counting of your strokes, keep your form, keep your sighting. And then, that final 100 meters of the swim, you're going to see that because it's nice and straight in that canal. You're going to see that where they're going to be pulling you out right there. And you come around those little last buoy, and they're going to pull you out of the water, and then you're just running straight to get your bike bag. So it really is a pretty straightforward swim. The only thing that you can get gummed up is that little part on that turn. So just being super aware of where the buoys are and sighting regularly on that part of the course is super important.
Perfect. Thanks, Katie. The one thing I will add, you guys, is if you are someone, just say you're going through the canal here, and you are someone that breathes to your left, don't swim close to the left because there is runoff. So there's a lot of people, the water goes along the side of the canal and runs back off, and it runs into your mouth, and it's very dirty water. A lot of people actually end up having stomach issues because of this water. So what I recommend is swimming straight down the middle of the canal to avoid that. And then the other thing is when there's so many people around you, and you're swimming stroke for stroke for someone right next to you, rather back off and swim on their feet. The beauty about this course is there's so much opportunity to draft off someone else and let them do the work. And even if you're swimming much easier, if you come out next to them and you can't pass them, rather swim back there behind them, save your energy for the bike. You're going to get out just as fast.
Yeah, especially in that canal, because there are so many people. So you'll really have it really like there. It really is as crowded as they say, depending on where you seat yourself.
Perfect. We have a couple questions. We just want to go to it quickly. Sorry, here we go. I'm going up. You guys see when I pull up the questions or no? No, you don't see it. Okay, I'm just looking at it right now. Temperature, they'll announce it the morning of. Someone responded to that as well. By the time we get to the transition area, yes, they will announce it by the time you get to the transition area. So at that time, you can hand off your wetsuit to family members. You don't have to take it all the way to the swim start and then be ready for your swim skin. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Alice. Guys, what I would say, a lot of these coaches are honestly answering it in the chat. So just look at the chat and then they will answer every single question that you have. So we will move on to be timely with the rest of it. This time we have T1 tips. We didn't have anyone covering that. Katie, did you just want to finish the T1 tips here quickly?
Yeah, sure. So when you're exiting the water, like it says, there are some steps there. And there's people that'll be there. Volunteers were great last year all along, where you're running down a little chute to grab your bike bag. So again, that day when you're dropping everything off, just like Natasha said, be super aware where you drop the bag off. It should be there. I always walk it to see where I'm exiting swim to where I'm going to pick up that bag. If it is wetsuit legal, this is another trick that I always do when I'm getting out and I have my wetsuit on. I don't touch any of my goggles or any of my stuff until I take my wetsuit off and I've taken down, and then I take off my goggles and my cap. Just because then I have free hands to like really get it shimmied all down. And last year, I don't remember, Alice, was there wetsuit strippers last year? There wasn't there?
I'm afraid I was swim skin, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, okay. I was wetsuit. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure there was people that were helping us pull out. I can't remember if I'm right or not, but I think there was.
There was, yeah. It's like right as you exit. So you want to be as quickly as possible. You want to get the wetsuit off your shoulders to take advantage of that without slowing down.
And then get it down as low as you possibly can. Like on your hips for them to just pull it off, and then you jump and you go with your stuff. And there is change tent, so you're grabbing your wetsuit from them, you're grabbing your bike bag, and then you're going into the change tent to get whatever you need to do to start getting ready to run into T1.
Perfect. Yeah, a special note on here, we've had people where it doesn't look to be too hot this year, but where it has been really hot and the pavement has been hot, and people have actually burnt their feet running with a bike, that final little section. And so we always encourage a lot of people, put your socks on for the bike just to avoid burning your feet on that final section before getting on your bike. And then of course, know where your bike is, so you're not kind of just running through clueless through T1. Okay, Alice.
Cool. I'm doing the bike course. The bike, if I'm going to be frank with you guys, is actually pretty boring, but that's fun because it's flat and fast. It's a 2-loop course. As this says, it's mostly on the Hardy Toll Road. If you look at the map, it's kind of small, but basically you have a little bit of an out and back in the beginning, and then you get on the toll road around, I would say around mile 20. And then it's 20-ish miles out, and then 20 back, and then 20 out, and then 20 back, basically, and then 10-ish miles back to the finish. It's pretty typical for you to have a headwind heading out and a tailwind heading back. If you look at the elevation plot, actually, it's actually net downhill going south and uphill going north. I could be wrong there, but it's only 111 feet of elevation change. So like, it's nothing, guys. It's very flat. When you turn around, you can be flying, as it says, given the tailwind. With that said, try not to spin out. Be aware of your cadence. Don't be like going crazy with your cadence, because you're going to tire yourself out, because you still have quite a ways to go at that time. As it says, it can be pretty crowded because there is 2 loops. So just ride smart. Be aware when you're pulling up to an aid station, be extra aware. People can stop and do silly things. So just have your head up. Try to stay to the side because people are passing. So unless you're passing, try to stay right. And I can't stress enough how important hydration is on this course. It is hot and it is humid, and you do not want to fall behind on this bike. My trick to everyone, and I recommend doing it, is every chance you kind of get to grab the water, put it over your head and put some of it in your mouth, but cool yourself off because it really can get hot. And then as this says again, bring extra salt just in case. Not sure if there's more here. Yeah, when you're finishing up, as I said, you're doing your back and forth 2-loop on the toll road, and then you have about 10-ish miles getting back to the bike finish, and there is a sharp turn during that. Just be aware of it. They're pretty good. They normally have a volunteer being like, slow down. But just be aware of that, and then just kind of mentally get your head in the game with the fact that you're about to start running. Some people like to increase their cadence up if they want prior to doing that to get their legs ready, to each their own. I don't. I'm normally more thinking about getting my head ready than thinking about my cadence, but
Bike aid stations?
Yeah, and then the aid stations, what is the deal? Is there Gatorade?
Yes, it's through July.
Okay.
It's Gatorade Thirst. So it's like 26 grams of carbs instead of like the 32 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's
Gatorade through July.
Yeah. All right. But so we will have that. So that's great. Water.
Yeah.
Morton gels. Again, hope a lot of us are going to be carrying our own nutrition, but be aware of what is on course, because there's a chance that you drop something out of your bag, like you drop a bottle or something, and you just want to have a plan B just in case you do that, and you need to make sure that you're getting in your carbs. So yeah, that's what's there. I don't know if anyone's doing T2, so I'm happy to keep talking.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, T2 tips. Just slow down to make sure that you dismount at the correct place. Know that your legs probably are going to feel a little heavy, particularly if you're the kind of person who's about to be running in your bike shoes. So it's going to feel a little awkward, but that will hopefully go away. They do tend to have bike flyers, and I'm guessing they will again. So volunteers who are going to take your bike from you, which is awesome. So you get off your bike, you run with it a few feet, and then before you know it, there's going to be a volunteer to take it from you, which is really cool. There's a little bit of a run. They make you, it's not super long, but they do make you kind of run along the bikes, and then you go by your run bag and then come back in. So you like kind of enter in and go left and have to run along it. So you're not going right into the area where all of the bikes are. You have to run around to get your run bag, go into the tent, and then go to your bike. As it says here, be efficient. It can, yeah, if you sit too long, your legs can get a little heavier. So try to keep moving. But I will say, when it does come to transition, calm is fast. So it's a hard thing to say, but stay calm, yet don't be so calm that you're just hanging out. And again, keep your cadence up and keep your body moving. Anything I'm missing?
No, that's it. I'm just going to say to one thing I didn't talk about, from the swim to the bike. You got to recognize that you guys, especially if you're out there for a long time, you've gone now for an hour to an hour and a half, for some cases 2 hours, where you have not drunk anything.
Yeah.
And for some of you, if it's wetsuit legal, you've sweated a whole bunch in your wetsuit. And so I would highly recommend that the first half, as you kind of settle into the bike, the focus is just hydration, hydration, hydration. You got to make up for everything that you lost. So I've actually heard that some pros even take up to 3 bottles an hour in that first hour, just to make up for the swim, to get ready for the bike. Obviously do what you think you can tolerate, but keep that in mind, that you don't want to stop pedaling and not hydrating right away. Like, that is your primary focus. Okay, great. On to Parker.
I probably should have one more thing I didn't say, sorry. Speaking of bike special needs, it's at mile 60-ish, 62, right after you make the turn to start loop 2. I just wanted to throw that in there so you guys know that. Sorry, go ahead, Parker.
Thanks, Alice.
Yeah, so moving on to the run course, I've done a few Ironman runs, and it is safe to say that the Ironman Texas run course is my favorite, definitely, for a few reasons. The first is that it's not too hilly, so that's always very yeah, that is definitely helpful. There is a few small hills. I think the one that I remember most from last year is this one little grass hill that you hit at the kind of the beginning of it, and you don't really even notice it the first loop around. But by the third loop, you're like, oh my God, why is this hill here? This seems so long. But yeah, so yes, don't expect too much varying like hilliness, but yeah, just keep an eye out for that one hill there. And speaking of grassy hills and whatnot, I know Natasha kind of touched on this at the very beginning of the call, but when you are running, if your legs start to hurt a little bit, feel free to, you don't have to run on the concrete, as long as you are kind of within the cones or whatever, try to get on like the sides. So try to get on the grass. If there's some gravel, a little bit softer surfaces, that can definitely help, take some of that load off your legs and maybe ease the pain just a little bit. But yeah, besides that, it's a great, very spectator friendly course. Definitely feed off of the energy that you see others. There's the famous Hippie Hollow, I believe. That's what it's called on the run. So enjoy that. You're going to see, as Natasha mentioned, we have 80 athletes there. So you're going to see NVDM athletes all around you, pump each other up, say, let's go. You'll see the NVDM tent. That's also always fun to see them. And then it's going to be hot. It's going to be very hot. So try to find shade. There's a few spots in the trees that will be a bit more shaded, but wherever you see any shade, definitely try to, try to take advantage of that. Speaking of which, the heat at every aid station, don't think, don't be embarrassed to walk aid stations and get in some water, get in some ice, dump it all over yourself. You can also run with ice in your hands. I've done that before. That helps quite a bit. And yeah, just try to stay cool as best you can. Obviously, it's, there's really nothing you can do about it. It's going to get hot, but you can try to combat that a little bit with some of the ice and water and whatnot. Yeah, with the run aid stations, you'll have the typical water, Gatorade, Cola, Red Bull. The Mortons, if you guys have never used Mortons before, I probably wouldn't do it for the first time on race day. But if you had, you kind of know what to expect. Bars, fruit, the regular. And then also for the special needs, what I usually do in my run special needs is I always throw something in there that, I know I'm always going to be looking forward to. So what, some people have done like a Snickers bar. I've put in my mom's homemade cookies before, something that you may not usually think of, but, like if worst comes to worst, when I get to mile, 13 of the marathon, I will 100% be able to eat this. And it doesn't have to be like, quote unquote, race fuel or something like that. So yeah, put a little treat in there, something to look forward to. And if you want to use it, you can. If you don't. But yeah, that's just a little tip I have.
Awesome. I think that's it. If any of the coaches want to add anything, I can cover over spectating here at the end. But one thing I wanted to say, just on the run course, I'm just trying to look where it starts. It starts obviously where the transition is, and then it goes, you run towards the swim. I'm a little bit backwards here. I think it's over here is where the swim start is. Yeah, right here. This is where our team tent is going to be. I typically am in this section here where I can give you some splits, and then I'm on my mountain bike and can kind of come around, give you more splits again if I wasn't able to give you the first time. There'll be a section here. There'll be coaches here. We try to have coaches in this backside. So definitely if you're needing something, we have had situations where someone needed something and they were like, I need X. And I know that Ashton's over here or Jules is over here. I can literally call them and say, Haiti needs ibuprofen. Does anyone have it? Or Alice needs extra salt. Is there any way we can, get it to an aid station volunteer? Again, do not hand anything off directly to the athlete. Make sure that it gets to them. And then also if you have any spectators, make sure that their feet are on the ground when they're cheering you. You're not allowed to run with your participant. So any of you guys, it will disqualify you guys. So like in my case, if I'm out on the mountain bike, I will literally ride on my mountain bike, get ahead of the athlete, put my feet on the ground, cheer them on, give them splits, let them go, and then I will go again. And I will make sure to, yeah, I would say by the end of the day, people don't care, but definitely if you're in the front of the race, that is definitely a thing. You know, come 8 p.m. or later, you're still out on the course, then yes, if your friend wants to come and join you for a couple miles, I would say that it's okay. The last thing I was also going to say about the hydration, at least 2 cups every aid station. I was doing the math with an athlete, and your sweat rate is just so extreme that if you had to take only 1 cup per, you're going to get massively dehydrated. So at minimum, I would say plan for 2 to 3 cups. And I would say even maybe 4. And the sequence would be grabbing one, putting it in your mouth, drinking water. The next cup, grab water, throw it on your head, cool yourself off. And then it may be, yes, I'm going to grab Gatorade, or yes, I'm going to grab Coke. And then, okay, maybe I need a little bit more water right at the end. So have your hands ready for like a 4 cup attack versus like a 1 cup attack, and then leaving for yourself to stay hydrated and fueled through the run course. Any coaches want to add anything? Okay. We've already said this, spectating. We'll have the team tent. It's not the best spectating area, to be honest. The best place is to be right outside of the main hotel, which is the Marriott. What's great about that is there's shade. There's restrooms right inside. There's coffee and food right inside. There's restaurants all around if your family needs anything. And then right across the road of that, you can see Hippie Hollow. And so it's just a really fun, like loud area to feel the energy of the Ironman. And then outside of that, you are very close to the finish line. Like it's just like a jaunt over to get to where you need to be. So that's where I'd honestly tell people to spectate from for those reasons. I was trying to think if there was anything else. Yeah. Anyone else have any questions? Oh yeah, I'll just talk to this quickly. We talked about Thursday night for those who hopped in late. Team dinner at 6 o'clock. Please let us know if you're joining. Family members are welcome. Just let Coach Ashton know as well. And then on Friday, we have a team shakeout. So what that's going to look like right at 8 a.m., which means all of you need to show up early. We will have our tent set up. We will start a short little jog. We'll come back and we'll do some mobility. So just some dynamic movements. And then those who want to swim, you don't have to. You will then get into your wetsuit if it's wetsuit legal, or swim skin, and then you'll be able to swim the course at that moment in time. Coaches will be there to answer any questions. We'll have some fuel. On that note, by the way, at Texas 70.3, we had a whole bunch of people say, hey, can you bring me fuel? I ran out. I will have fuel with me that you'll be able to purchase on Thursday night at the dinner if you need to get some. But we'll have all of that on Friday morning. We are opening it to the public. So if you're like meet people and they want to find out more about NVDM, say, come join us for the shakeout. There's more than enough space. It's just a quick little run. Will help them definitely, probably help you as well. And then you'll do your swim, and then know that the water is dirty. So a lot of our like elite level athletes, they're not going to swim in the water because of that. It's the risk you take that you might swallow something and get sick. So a lot of them are actually going from there, and they're going to swim at one of those other options to get a swim in the day before the race. We've also had a lot of people swim the day before the race in prior years, and nothing has gone wrong. So don't let that freak you out as well, but just know like there is a risk. Okay. I think that's it, you guys. Thanks for joining us. Just seeing if there are any other last minute questions that we haven't answered. Can volunteers join the team swim? Yes. Oh, okay. There you go. Only registered and checked in athletes can swim. Sorry. No, they can join the run though. There we go. Okay. Coach Harold, any words? No? All good? Okay, I'm trying to see. Alex, done this before a couple times. Okay. Guys,
Yeah.
we're so excited to see you. So we might be at the expo. Last thing, when you pick up your packet and you walk out, you will see hopefully our team tent. We're finding out on Monday if we'll be able to set up. I'll send a message if we're not. But at that point, as I said, if you need to come and speak to a coach, grab a hat, grab a shirt. That will be the time. If not, it will be at dinner or at Friday morning swim. Okay. We'll see you there. Bye, guys. Yeah. Okay, Justin. No one Justin's there. Okay, perfect.